neta, todos, o sea, controversies, yo no tengo dinero. Todo esto que ven, o sea, me lo regalaron. El único ingreso que yo tengo es en TikTok. Yo no veo nada de ese dinero. Ese dinero va para la mamá de mis dos hijas.
¿Tú qué piensas de Cristian Nodal?
Absolutamente nada.
Si hoy tuvieras enfrente a tu hermano Leonardo, ¿qué le dirías después de lo que dijo en el concierto?
No creo que nos vamos a ver enfrente. No creo.
¿Te gustaría recibir una llamada de tu papá?
Para nada.
¿Y qué pasa si él te llama? Si te llama, ¿qué le dices?
No contesto.
Attention, little tomatoes. What you're about to witness will mark a before and after in the biggest scandal of the year. As the Aguilar family continues spiraling deeper into controversy and lies, silenced voices are finally rising with a devastating force no one saw coming. We've got exclusive revelations from Emiliano Aguilar that will break hearts, where for the first time ever, he speaks unfiltered about family abandonment and the price he's paying for defending his mother. But that's not all. We also have damning evidence showing Cristian Nodal is proving himself to be exactly the unfaithful man he admitted to being, shamelessly flirting with fans while his wife faces massive public rejection from the Mexican audience. And as if that weren't enough, we'll analyze the most suspicious maneuvers behind this year's Latin Grammy nominations, where, curiously, Cazzu has been completely ignored while the controversial Aguilars maintain their presence. All this while new figures join the media war with precise attacks shaking the very foundations of this dynasty. Hey there, my little tomatoes. Welcome to a new episode where reality surpasses any fiction. Before diving into this roller coaster of explosive revelations, I want you to tell me in the comments, what do you think about this seemingly endless media war? Do you believe it's coincidence that just as Emiliano shows his most vulnerable side, mysterious people suddenly emerge attacking him? What do you make of an artist of Cazzu's caliber being completely overlooked at major award shows while the controversial Aguilars retain their nominations? And something that has us deeply intrigued, do you consider Nodal's behavior at his concerts appropriate for a married man, especially since he himself has admitted to struggling with fidelity? Don't forget to turn on notifications and hit like on this video, because what we're revealing today will spark conversations for weeks. This story is reaching levels few imagined possible, and you'll witness every shocking detail. Let's begin with what has undoubtedly been the most moving and revealing moment of this saga. Emiliano Aguilar, the son who dared to defend his mother and has been systematically attacked by his own family, has finally given us an interview that left everyone speechless. After months enduring the most brutal attacks, after watching his own aunt publicly defend Leonardo while he was crucified in the media, Emiliano showed himself like never before, vulnerable, honest, and utterly shattered by familial abandonment. The most heartbreaking moment of the entire interview came when he was directly asked about the possibility of reconciliation with Leonardo. His answer was as blunt as it was painful. No, there's no such possibility. I don't believe that will ever happen. But what truly broke hearts was watching him fight back tears as he spoke about his lifelong need for paternal love. I always needed my father's love and my family's. He confessed in a broken voice that revealed a young man completely shattered inside. Despite his tattoos, despite the rebellious image he projects, Emiliano bared his soul, admitting he constantly lives with sadness and feels utterly alone in this battle. But here's the most revealing part of all. Emiliano told us something that confirms what many suspected. Financially, he has absolutely nothing. Everything you see was gifted to me. The only income I have is about $2,000, but I never see any of that money because it all goes to my daughter's mother. This devastating confession shows us a young man who, contrary to what his family wants you to believe, isn't doing this for money. He's paying the highest possible price: absolute loneliness, familial rejection, and a constant battle against depression. And when asked about Ángela's wedding to Nodal, his response was like a dagger to the heart. I didn't even know they were getting married. I found out like any stranger, through social media. Can you imagine the pain of learning your sister got married via Instagram? But what struck me most was his response when asked about Nodal. With calculated coldness, he simply said, absolutely nothing. And when pressed further on whether he thought people were sending them too much hate, his reply was brilliant. Just stop talking. Every time they open their mouths, something bad happens. Go to Switzerland or Ireland for a month and let things blow over. Do you see the maturity in that response? While his entire family brutally attacks him, he's genuinely advising them on how to improve their public image. But here's the most suspicious part of this entire story, friends. Just as Emiliano reveals his most human and vulnerable side, just as he begins generating genuine public empathy, a mysterious ex-girlfriend suddenly surfaces, giving interviews directly attacking him. The question is obvious: coincidence or strategy? This ex has appeared multiple times to speak ill of Emiliano, and it's awfully convenient for the Aguilars that she emerges precisely now, as public opinion starts sympathizing with him. The pattern is clear. Every time Emiliano gains ground in public opinion, some voice emerges attacking him. Meanwhile, we see the usual parade of journalists and public figures desperately defending the Aguilars. But where were all these voices when Emiliano was being brutally attacked by his own family? Where was the empathy when a young man was being publicly destroyed for defending his mother? Another glaring example of manipulation we've seen in a long time involves this year's Latin Grammy nominations. It turns out Cazzu, who released a successful album with millions of streams and has demonstrated genuine talent backed by authentic fan love, was completely excluded from all major categories. But guess who did get nominated? You guessed it, Pepe Aguilar and Nodal. And here's the most suspicious part of all. They're nominated in the same category, father-in-law versus son-in-law. Doesn't that seem like an awfully convenient coincidence? Amid all the surrounding controversy, amid massive rejection from the Mexican public, amid constant booing wherever they go, they mysteriously maintain their presence at one of Latin music's most important award shows. This leads us to wonder, what kind of influence is operating behind these nominations? Because if we judged solely on artistic merit and public acceptance, the situation would be completely different. While Cazzu fills stadiums with fans who genuinely love and respect her, while her music authentically connects with her audience, while she demonstrates class and dignity in every public appearance, she's completely ignored by these awards. Meanwhile, we have two figures facing massive rejection, generating controversy wherever they go, having lost credibility with much of the Mexican public, yet mysteriously maintaining relevance at major award ceremonies. The question is obvious. Are we seeing the result of genuine talent and popularity, or are we witnessing the power of industry influence, connections, and manipulation? Pepe Aguilar is certainly no novice at pulling strings and exerting influence in the music industry. For decades, he's built a network of contacts, allowing him to keep his family at the top, even when public opinion doesn't favor them. And now we see that same machinery activating to maintain the illusion that his dynasty remains relevant, when reality on the streets, at concerts, and across social media tells a completely different story. It's especially frustrating when we consider the genuine talent being ignored. Cazzu has demonstrated not only vocal skill, but also an emotional connection with her audience few artists achieve. Her live performances are events people eagerly anticipate, not for controversy, but for artistic quality. Meanwhile, Ángela Aguilar's appearances have become spectacles of public rejection, and Nodal shows are a mix of nostalgia for his past music and morbid curiosity about his personal life. Speaking of public rejection, we must address what's happening at Ángela Aguilar's live performances, because the situation has reached levels few artists have experienced in recent Mexican entertainment history. The videos circulating on social media don't lie. At the Guadalajara event, it wasn't just booing that marked Ángela's performance. It was something far more devastating: total indifference. We saw people literally turning their backs, looking away, chatting among themselves while she sang, as if her presence were completely irrelevant. This, little tomatoes, is far more damaging than booing. Booing at least indicates an emotional reaction, a passionate response. But indifference, the silent contempt, the conscious decision to completely ignore an artist on stage, signals a much deeper and more definitive rejection. And the shouts heard left no doubt about the public sentiment, "Get out," and even harsher comments reflecting the widespread exhaustion with his family. What's most striking is that while the Mexican people are sending a clear, forceful message of rejection and viral videos show undeniable reality, we see the predictable parade of media figures desperately defending the Aguilars. Erica Gonzalez defending Ángela with increasingly forced arguments, Diana Hernandez, who knows firsthand what it means to be the other woman, offering advice from her own controversial experience. Ana Barbara pleading for people to let them live, conveniently forgetting she's participated in similar controversies herself. Where were all these compassionate, empathetic voices when Emiliano was mercilessly attacked? Where was the call for compassion when a young man was publicly destroyed simply for defending his mother? It seems empathy only activates when convenient, when protecting certain specific figures, but vanishes completely when the victims fall outside the protected circle. This coordinated defense reeks of desperation because the truth is the damage to the Aguilar's public image is already done and appears irreversible. Forced defenses, attempts to justify the unjustifiable, pleas for compassion that sound like complicity, these only confirm we're witnessing the last gasps of a family built on fragile foundations. The Mexican public has proven to have an excellent memory and a highly developed sense of justice. They're not easily manipulated and know how to distinguish authenticity from performance. And in this case, they've delivered their verdict decisively. But if you thought the above was explosive, wait until you hear about the bombs Cazzu's sister has been dropping with surgical precision, shaking the entire Aguilar dynasty. Flor, Cazzu's sister, doesn't need lengthy speeches to completely dismantle the narrative Nodal and the Aguilars have tried to construct. With impressive strategic intelligence, she's used Simpsons images that are pure fulfilled prophecy. The first image she shared shows a lonely man holding an award, looking sad and completely abandoned. The symbolism is devastating. There's Nodal, with his accolades and nominations, but utterly alone, paying the price for choosing poorly. The second image is even more brutal in its precision. It shows a happy family celebrating while the protagonist watches sadly from outside, excluded from the happiness he once could have had. The message is crystal clear. Nodal traded genuine love and the family he could have built with Cazzu for one that's now isolating him even from his original family circle. And the caption accompanying these images was direct and powerful. To my family, please respect them. Flor is showing she won't allow Cazzu to be attacked any longer, using the most effective tools, truth and universally understandable symbolism. But the revelations don't end there. We have damning evidence that Nodal is proving himself to be exactly the man he confessed to being in that famous interview with Adela Micha. Remember when he admitted he wasn't a womanizer, but something worse? That he was born with a deeply loving soul? Well, we now have proof that confession was more prophetic than many imagined. Recently, an influencer documented Nodal's behavior during one of his concerts on social media, and what she showed is simply inappropriate for a married man. Throughout the entire concert, Nodal couldn't take his eyes off this fan. He blew her kisses, made gestures specifically directed at her, and to top it off, gifted her one of his hats. These aren't casual artist-audience interactions. This is blatant, calculated flirting. Can you imagine the humiliation this represents for Ángela? While she faces massive booing and public rejection, her husband is on stage publicly flirting with other women as if he had no marital commitments. But this shouldn't surprise us, because he warned us himself. In that revealing interview, when directly asked if he was a womanizer, his response was chilling. "I was born with a bigger problem than being a womanizer. I was born with a deeply loving soul." Those words now take on entirely different meaning. He wasn't talking about being romantic or passionate. He was confessing to having a serious fidelity problem, that his loving soul isn't limited to one person, but constantly seeks new emotional connections. And while all this unfolds, where are the defenders of marriage as an institution? Where are those who so harshly criticize others for their personal decisions? The hypocrisy is so evident it's almost comical. The contrast is brutal and revealing. On one side, we have Cazzu, who has handled this entire situation with admirable dignity, focusing on her career, filling stadiums, genuinely connecting with her audience, and demonstrating true class. On the other side, we have Nodal, who appears to be completely losing his way. Estranged from his own father due to Pepe Aguilar's manipulations, married to a woman facing massive public rejection, and now publicly exposed for inappropriate behavior with fans. Cazzu's sister is right in her symbolic images. Nodal is alone, sad, and paying the price for choosing poorly. He traded an authentic relationship for one that has cost him not only his public credibility, but apparently also his emotional and familial stability. Little tomatoes, what we've witnessed today is just the tip of the iceberg in a collapse that seems endless. We're witnessing the most documented public downfall of a dynasty built on manipulation, media control, and the belief they could deceive the Mexican public indefinitely. Maintain the same accent in showing his vulnerability, Cazzu's sister's strategic intelligence in dropping symbolic bombs, the Mexican public's massive organized rejection, and increasingly clear evidence of Nodal's problematic behavior all are converging in a historic moment for Mexican entertainment. But this is far from over. New revelations emerge daily. Each week brings new episodes in this saga that has captured not just Mexico's attention, but all of Latin America. The upcoming revelations will be even more explosive. We have information that more people close to this family are preparing their own statements, and the behavioral patterns we've documented suggest more controversial episodes are coming. Karma has finally arrived, and it's more relentless than anyone could have imagined. Every lie is coming to light, every manipulation is being exposed, and every victim is finding their voice. That's why it's crucial you stay tuned to this channel. We'll continue documenting every development in this story that's redefining how the Mexican public relates to its public figures. Don't forget to like this video if you found it revelatory, subscribe so you don't miss a single update, and share this content because it's important that the truth reaches as many people as possible. See you in the next episode of this saga that continues surprising everyone. This is just beginning, and what's coming will be historic.